Malik had been driving his cab for nearly 10 years. Every day he spent hours weaving through the busy streets, picking up strangers and dropping them off at their destinations. Some days were easy with quiet rides and polite passengers. Other days were full of chaos, traffic jams, rude passengers, and people who seemed to be in a rush to get nowhere. But Malik didn't mind. Driving gave him independence. It gave him a way to support his younger siblings, who relied on him to help pay for school, food, and rent. It was a hot summer afternoon, the kind where the sun made the pavement shimmer and the air felt sticky and heavy. Malik wiped the sweat off his forehead as he waited at a busy intersection. The city was alive with the sounds of car horns, distant sirens, and people rushing to get somewhere. He was thinking about the long shift ahead when he noticed movement out of the corner of his eye. On the sidewalk, a woman struggled to manage a small child in a stroller. The boy, no more than 5 or 6, was coughing heavily and looked pale. His little arms flailed and he seemed to be in some kind of pain. The woman's face was tense, her forehead creased with worry. She tried to keep him steady while maneuvering the stroller over the uneven pavement, but it was clear she was struggling. Without thinking twice, Malik pulled over. "Hey, you okay? Do you need help?" he asked, rolling down his window. The woman looked at him, startled. Yes, please. My son, he's not feeling well. I don't know if we can make it to the hospital on time," she said, her voice trembling. Malik jumped out and walked over, opening the passenger door of his cab. "Get in, I'll take you there." "Don't worry about a thing." The woman hesitated, glancing around nervously. I don't have much money. I can't pay." Malik waved his hand. "Forget about that. We need to get him help. That's what matters right now." Her eyes filled with tears as she helped her son into the car. Malik gently buckled the boy in while the woman sat beside him, her hand shaking slightly as she held his small hand. He looked at them both and felt a surge of responsibility. He didn't know these people, but he couldn't ignore them in a moment like this. As he drove, Malik kept an eye on the boy in the rearview mirror. The boy's breathing was uneven and he coughed softly every few seconds. Malik's mind raced. He had dealt with emergencies before in passing, but nothing made his heart pound like this. He had to get them to the hospital quickly. "Do you know which hospital you want to go to?" Malik asked. The woman shook her head. "Any hospital. Just somewhere that can help him fast. I don't know what's wrong with him. He just started feeling worse this morning, and now it's getting bad." Malik nodded, keeping one hand on the steering wheel and the other ready to help if anything went wrong. "I know a hospital that's close and has good doctors. We'll get there in a few minutes. Just hold on." The woman took a deep breath and tried to steady herself. "Thank you, I don't know what I would do without your help." Malik smiled gently. "It's okay. I'm happy to help." The traffic was heavy and every red light felt like a lifetime. Malik carefully navigated through the city streets, honking politely to let others know he needed to pass. He could see the worry etched on the woman's face. Her eyes kept darting to her son, and her hands never left his. He could tell she was exhausted, both physically and emotionally. As they drove, Malik asked softly, "Has he been sick before like this?" The woman shook her head. "No, he's usually healthy. But this morning he woke up coughing and it got worse fast. I didn't know what to do. I tried calling our doctor, but no one was answering." Malik's heart went out to her. He knew how frightening it could be when someone you love is in pain and you feel powerless. He kept his focus on the road, but he also tried to comfort her. "You're doing the right thing. You brought him here. That's all that matters. We're going to get him help." The boy coughed again, and the woman gently rubbed his back, whispering words of encouragement. Malik felt a pang in his chest. He thought about his own family and how he would want someone to help them in a moment like this. "Don't worry," Malik said. "We're almost there." The woman looked at him, her eyes glistening. "You're so kind. I don't even know your name." "Malik," he said simply. "And you?" "Lisa," she replied. "I'm Lisa, and this is my son, Ethan." Malik nodded. "It's nice to meet you, Lisa. I'm glad I can help." The ride was tense. Every few blocks, Malik checked the rearview mirror to see how Ethan was doing. He coughed less now, but his face was still pale and he looked weak. Malik knew that every second counted. He could feel the urgency pressing down on him like the heavy summer air. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they arrived at the hospital. Malik pulled the car into the emergency entrance where nurses were already coming out to assist patients. He helped Lisa lift Ethan out of the car, supporting the boy carefully. Lisa held Ethan close, whispering soothing words to him. Malik looked at them both, a sense of relief washing over him. They were safe now. The hospital staff quickly took over and Lisa turned to him, her eyes full of gratitude. "Thank you. I don't know how to thank you enough." Malik smiled and shook his head. "Just take care of him. That's enough for me." Lisa tried to hand him the small amount of money she had, but Malik refused. "I'm not taking this. Helping him is all that matters. Go. He needs you more than anything else right now." She nodded, tears slipping down her cheeks. You're an angel. I don't know how I'll ever repay you." Malik simply nodded and walked back to his cab, feeling a quiet satisfaction. He didn't need thanks or money. He just hoped that Ethan would be okay. Driving away, he reflected on the brief encounter, realizing that sometimes life put you in a position to help someone, and all you could do was answer the call. That afternoon, Malik didn't know that this simple act of kindness would change everything, not just for Lisa and Ethan, but for him as well. He had no idea that this ride, this moment of helping someone in need, would eventually open doors he had never imagined. But for now, Malik drove back into the city, his mind heavy with worry for the boy, but light with the simple knowledge that he had done the right thing. Sometimes helping someone wasn't about reward or recognition. Sometimes it was just about being human. As the sun began to dip toward the horizon, casting a golden glow over the city, Malik knew that today was different. Today he had made a real difference in someone's life. And though he didn't know it yet, this small act of kindness would come back to him in ways he could never have imagined. He glanced at the streets ahead, ready to continue his shift, unaware that fate had just begun weaving a new path for him, one that would soon bring unimaginable changes, new friendships, and opportunities that seemed almost too good to be true. After Malik dropped Lisa and her son Ethan at the hospital, he couldn't just go back to his routine. He sat in his cab for a few minutes, letting the hum of the city surround him while he thought about what had just happened. The boy's small face, pale and coughing, lingered in his mind. He knew that a few minutes could make all the difference in such situations. He glanced at his rearview mirror and saw people hurrying past, going about their lives, oblivious to what had just taken place. It struck him how easy it was for someone to slip through unnoticed in the chaos of the city, how people could be in desperate need and yet invisible to the world. Malik had chosen not to ignore it, and it made him feel alive in a way he hadn't felt in a long time. Meanwhile, inside the hospital, Lisa was trying to remain calm for Ethan's sake. His small body shivered under the hospital blanket, and he clung to her hand like it was the only thing keeping him safe. Lisa felt helpless and afraid. She had never been in a situation like this before, seeing her child so weak, unsure of what the problem was and powerless to fix it herself. The hospital staff moved quickly, taking Ethan's vital signs and preparing to run tests. Lisa explained his symptoms, voice shaking, as she recounted the sudden onset of his illness that morning. The doctors nodded and worked efficiently, but Lisa's mind kept wandering back to the stranger who had helped them. She remembered his calm, steady presence, the gentle way he treated them, and the reassuring words he had spoken. He didn't even ask for anything, she thought. He just helped us because it was the right thing to do. Back in his cab, Malik finally got back on the road. The city felt different somehow, almost heavier with its normal chaos. Yet he also felt lighter inside, like he had done something that mattered beyond the everyday struggles of driving a cab. He wondered if the boy was going to be okay, if the mother would be able to calm her fear, and if his small act of kindness had made a lasting impact. The next day, Malik continued his shift as usual, picking up passengers and weaving through traffic. But his mind kept wandering back to Lisa and Ethan. He didn't know their last names, didn't know their address, and yet he found himself hoping they were safe. He couldn't shake the image of the little boy's weak hands gripping his mother's, the way Lisa had looked at him with raw gratitude and relief. Meanwhile, Lisa was discharged after a long day at the hospital. Ethan had been given medication, and the doctors assured her that he would recover fully with rest and care. As they left the hospital, Lisa tried to piece together her thoughts. She was grateful, of course, but there was something else she couldn't ignore. The man who had helped them, Malik, was remarkable. She couldn't stop thinking about his kindness, his lack of judgment and the calm way he had guided them through the city when panic threatened to take over. Lisa knew she wanted to thank him properly. She tried to remember details about his car, what he looked like, anything that could help her find him. She asked hospital staff if anyone had left their information, but no one had. She felt frustrated but also determined. Someone who had acted with such selflessness deserved to be recognized. Over the next few days, Malik continued his routine, but he noticed something different about himself. He was more aware of the small ways he could help people, noticing when someone seemed in trouble, offering a hand when he could. He didn't do it for recognition. It was just a feeling that had settled into him, a need to help where he could. One afternoon, Malik noticed a young woman struggling with grocery bags, nearly dropping them as she tried to open her apartment door. Without hesitation, he parked his cab and ran over to help her. She thanked him, smiling shyly, and he simply nodded. It felt natural now, like helping was no longer a choice but a part of who he was. Meanwhile, Lisa took a different approach. She asked around, tried posting in community groups, hoping someone might know the driver who had helped her. She wanted to express her gratitude, not just with words, but in a way that could make a difference in his life. She didn't want to be just a thank you. She wanted to repay him for his time, his care, and his courage in helping strangers in need. One evening, as Malik parked his cab near a busy street corner, he noticed a small envelope on the windshield. It wasn't unusual for people to leave notes for him occasionally, sometimes a warning about traffic, sometimes a simple thank you for helping someone load luggage. But this envelope felt different. He picked it up and opened it. Inside was a note written neatly in elegant handwriting. "Dear Malik, I am the woman whose son you helped to the hospital the other day. I cannot thank you enough for your kindness. You saved my son's life and gave me hope when I felt so helpless. Please contact me. I want to express my gratitude properly." Malik's eyes widened. He read the note again to make sure he hadn't misunderstood. He hadn't. Someone had written to him to thank him for helping their child. His heart raced and he felt a warmth spread through him. This was unexpected. No one had ever reached out to him like this before. He hesitated for a moment, unsure of what to do. He could ignore it, continue with his life as usual, or he could reach out and see what would happen. Something inside him told him to respond. He had done the right thing without expecting anything, and now perhaps it was time to see what would come of it. The next day, Malik called the number on the note. Lisa answered on the first ring. Her voice was calm but full of emotion. "Malik, it's Lisa," she said. "I just wanted to thank you again. Can we meet?" They agreed to meet at a quiet cafe near the hospital. Malik felt nervous as he arrived. He wasn't used to being recognized for his actions, and he certainly wasn't used to someone wanting to meet him because of something he had done out of instinct. When he saw Lisa, she smiled warmly. She had an air of confidence but also humility, and Malik could see the relief in her eyes. She thanked him again for helping her and Ethan, explaining in more detail how much it had meant to her. Malik listened quietly, a small smile on his face. Then Lisa said something that caught him completely off guard. "Malik, there's something I need to tell you," she said. "I haven't mentioned this before because I was too overwhelmed at the time, but I come from a wealthy family. I didn't want you to think I was poor or trying to take advantage of your kindness." Malik blinked, surprised. He had assumed she was struggling financially based on what she had said in the cab. He hadn't considered that she might have resources but had still needed help in that moment. He smiled, shaking his head. "It doesn't matter," he said. "I helped because it was the right thing to do. That's all that matters." Lisa's eyes glistened. "Still, I want to show my gratitude. You didn't just help my son, you gave me hope. You reminded me that there are good people in the world. I want to do something meaningful for you." Malik shrugged, unsure how to respond. He wasn't used to anyone wanting to reward him for simply doing what he thought was right. He had worked hard all his life, and he didn't expect handouts or recognition. But something in Lisa's voice convinced him to at least listen. Over the next hour, they talked about their lives. Malik shared stories about his family, his struggles, and his daily work as a driver. Lisa listened intently, nodding and sharing a little about her own life, not in a boastful way, but in a way that made Malik understand who she really was. She had wealth, yes, but she was grounded, caring, and sincere. By the time they parted ways, Malik felt something shift inside him. What started as a simple act of kindness had begun to weave a connection, one that neither of them could have predicted. Malik returned to his cab feeling lighter, almost as if a burden he hadn't realized he carried had been lifted. That night, as Malik parked his cab and looked out at the city lights, he reflected on the day. Helping Lisa and Ethan had been just another moment in his life, but it had already started to change things. He couldn't see the full impact yet, but he could feel it. Life had a way of surprising you, and sometimes those surprises came from the simplest acts. A helping hand, a kind word, or a willingness to stop and care when no one else would. Malik didn't know it then, but this was only the beginning. The small act of helping a mother and her sick child would set in motion events that would transform his life in ways he never imagined, introducing him to new opportunities, new friendships, and new hope. For now, all he could do was drive, watch the city pass by, and carry with him the quiet knowledge that he had done something that truly mattered. After their meeting at the cafe, Malik couldn't stop thinking about Lisa and her son, Ethan. Something about the way she spoke, the gratitude in her voice, and the calm determination she carried had left a deep impression on him. He had never experienced recognition like this before. Most of his life had been spent quietly, working long hours, helping people without expecting anything in return, and often going unnoticed. But now, for the first time, someone had taken the time to truly acknowledge his effort. Lisa, on the other hand, had returned home with a mix of relief and worry. Ethan was resting comfortably in his room, and the doctor's instructions were clear. Keep him hydrated, give him the medication on time, and watch for any signs of fever or worsening condition. But Lisa's mind kept wandering back to Malik. She felt a strong desire to make sure that the man who had helped them so selflessly knew the impact of his actions. She decided that she couldn't just let it end with a phone call or a note. Malik's kindness deserved more. She wanted him to understand that he hadn't just helped them physically, but he had restored a sense of hope in her heart at a time when fear and worry had consumed her. Over the next few days, Lisa reached out to her family explaining the situation. Her parents and relatives were shocked and impressed that a stranger had come to their aid without asking for anything in return. They insisted that they find a way to properly thank Malik. Lisa was hesitant at first, worried that he might misunderstand or feel uncomfortable, but her family was firm. Someone who acted with such pure kindness deserved recognition and support. Meanwhile, Malik continued his daily routine, driving through the city streets, picking up passengers, dropping them off, navigating traffic, and listening to people's stories. It was his life. But there was a new lightness in his steps. He still worried about his family, still faced long hours and daily struggles, but now there was a sense that something good had entered his life. The encounter with Lisa and Ethan had shown him that even small acts of kindness could ripple far beyond what anyone could imagine. One afternoon, Malik received another envelope tucked under his windshield wiper. Curious, he opened it and found another note from Lisa. It was brief but heartfelt. "Malik, I hope you are well. I cannot stop thinking about your kindness and the way you helped my son. I would like to invite you to our home so that we can thank you properly. I understand this may feel unusual, but please know it comes from a place of genuine gratitude." Malik paused, staring at the note. He was taken aback. He had helped many people in his life, but never had anyone gone out of their way like this to thank him. He hesitated, wondering what kind of people they were and what their intentions might be. But something in the way Lisa wrote, the sincerity, the care, told him that this was genuine. He decided to accept the invitation. When Malik arrived at Lisa's home, he was struck by how beautiful and grand it was. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. Large rooms filled with art and furniture that seemed like it belonged in a magazine. He felt a moment of awkwardness, unsure of how to act. But Lisa greeted him warmly as if they were old friends, putting him instantly at ease. "Malik, thank you so much for coming," Lisa said, smiling. "I want you to know how grateful we are. What you did for Ethan, you saved him. We can never repay you for that." Malik shook his head. "I didn't do it for repayment," he said. "I just did what I thought was right. He was sick and you needed help. That's all that mattered." Lisa nodded, understanding his humility, but she also wanted him to see the real impact of his actions. She led him to a quiet living room where her family waited. They greeted him warmly, expressing their admiration and respect. Malik felt a mix of nervousness and pride. He was a simple man from a hard-working background, suddenly surrounded by people of wealth and influence, yet they treated him as an equal. One of Lisa's relatives, a successful business owner, spoke up. "Malik, what you did for Lisa and Ethan was remarkable. It's rare to see such selflessness these days. We want to make sure that your kindness is recognized and that you have opportunities you deserve." Malik was stunned. He had never imagined that helping someone in need could lead to something like this. He felt a mix of disbelief and gratitude, unsure how to respond. He had always lived by the principle that helping others was its own reward, but now he was realizing that sometimes the world has a way of returning that kindness in ways you could never expect. Lisa explained in more detail what had happened that day, the fear she felt when Ethan fell ill, the panic as she tried to manage him in the stroller, and the overwhelming relief when Malik appeared and offered help without hesitation. She described how his calm presence and quick thinking had made all the difference, and how it had restored her faith in humanity. Malik listened quietly, his heart swelling with a quiet pride. He had never sought recognition, yet hearing how deeply his actions had affected Lisa and her family was moving. He realized that even small gestures, like helping a mother and her sick child, could have profound effects on people's lives. After their conversation, Lisa's family discussed ways to support Malik. They offered him mentorship opportunities, connections that could help him advance in his career, and even a stable job offer within their business network. Malik was overwhelmed. He had never experienced anything like this before. His life had been a daily struggle to get by, but now he was being offered opportunities that could change everything. But Malik didn't rush to accept. He wanted to ensure that he stayed true to himself, that he didn't let the allure of wealth or opportunity change who he was. He had always believed in hard work, integrity, and helping others without expecting anything in return. Now he was learning that life could reward those principles in unexpected ways. In the days that followed, Malik continued to visit Lisa and Ethan. He became a regular presence in their lives, not as someone seeking favor, but as a friend who had helped when it mattered most. Ethan, once weak and coughing, began to recover, and Malik saw the boy's bright smile and energetic playfulness return. It was a reminder that his actions had a real, tangible impact on someone's life, and that feeling was more rewarding than anything else. Lisa and her family, in turn, made sure Malik felt valued. They encouraged him, supported him, and treated him with respect. Malik began to realize that the world could be kind and generous in return, and that good deeds could create lasting bonds between people from very different walks of life. One evening, as Malik drove home after a long day, he reflected on the chain of events. A simple decision to help a struggling mother and her child had led to opportunities he had never dreamed of. Connections with people who genuinely cared, and a sense of purpose that went beyond his everyday routine. He understood now that life could be unpredictable, but also filled with moments of unexpected generosity and human kindness. As he parked his cab, Malik felt a quiet sense of hope. He didn't know what the future held, but he knew that by continuing to act with compassion, by helping those in need without expecting anything in return, he could continue to make a difference in the lives of others and, perhaps, in his own life as well. That night, as he lay in bed, Malik thought about Ethan's small hand in Lisa's, the fear that had gripped the mother's heart, and the relief they had both felt. He realized that a single act of kindness could ripple outward, touching lives in ways that could never be fully measured. And in that quiet moment, Malik understood that he had experienced something extraordinary, a reminder that humanity, compassion, and courage could change lives forever. Malik didn't yet know the full extent of how his life would change, but he felt ready to embrace the opportunities that came from his actions, ready to continue helping others, and ready to see where this new path would lead him. Life had shown him that sometimes when you act with kindness, the world responds in ways you could never imagine, and that was a lesson he would carry with him forever. After the meeting at Lisa's home and the growing connection with her family, Malik's life began to change in ways he never imagined. At first, it wasn't sudden or dramatic. He still drove his cab through the busy streets every day, picked up passengers, navigated traffic, and dealt with the usual challenges of long hours and constant work. But there was a new energy in his step, a quiet sense that something bigger was beginning to unfold. Lisa and her family continued to reach out to him. They invited him to small gatherings, not in a formal or intimidating way, but as a friend and a guest. Malik was hesitant at first. He had spent most of his life in environments where wealth and influence seemed distant and almost intimidating. Yet he quickly realized that Lisa and her relatives weren't trying to make him feel small or out of place. They treated him with respect and kindness, valuing him for who he was rather than what he could gain. One afternoon, Lisa's uncle, a successful businessman, called Malik with an unexpected offer. "Malik," he said warmly, "we've been impressed by your character, your integrity, and the way you handled yourself. We would like to offer you a position in our company. It's not a job that will make you wealthy overnight, but it will provide stability, growth, and opportunities you deserve. We believe someone like you, with your mindset, could really succeed here." Malik was taken aback. He had spent his life doing honest work, but he had never imagined doors like this opening for him. He hesitated, unsure if he was ready for such a change. But the man's tone was reassuring, and Malik felt a mixture of excitement and cautious hope. He agreed to consider it, realizing that this could be the turning point he had been waiting for. Over the next few weeks, Malik visited Lisa's family home multiple times to learn about the new opportunity. He met mentors, people who had faced challenges and risen above them and who were willing to guide him. Malik was a quick learner, and his work ethic shone through. He listened, asked questions, and absorbed knowledge like a sponge. For the first time in a long while, he felt a sense of direction, a path that promised stability, growth, and the chance to provide more for his family. Meanwhile, Malik's relationship with Lisa and Ethan grew stronger. He became a regular presence in their lives, not because he wanted recognition, but because he genuinely cared. Ethan's laughter, once weak and hesitant, now filled the room, a reminder of the boy's recovery and resilience. Malik would play small games with him, read stories, and share moments that strengthened the bond between them. Lisa's gratitude never wavered, but she also respected Malik's independence and humility. She treated him as an equal, a friend, and a partner in Ethan's journey of healing and growth. As Malik began his new role with Lisa's family's business network, he faced challenges that were unfamiliar. He learned to navigate corporate structures, manage responsibilities, and interact with people from different backgrounds. But his determination, honesty, and humility set him apart. He quickly earned the respect of colleagues and mentors. They admired not just his work ethic, but his ability to remain grounded despite the new environment. One day, while attending a meeting, Malik realized how far he had come. He remembered the days when he drove long hours in his cab, worrying about how to make ends meet, supporting his siblings with limited resources, and often feeling invisible in the vast city. Now he was seated in a room where decisions were being made that impacted hundreds of people, where his voice mattered, and where his integrity was recognized. He felt a quiet sense of pride, not in arrogance, but in knowing that his character and actions had brought him here. Outside of work, Malik continued to live simply. He didn't let the new opportunities make him forget his roots or the struggles he had faced. He still drove his cab occasionally, not because he needed to, but because he wanted to stay connected to the streets he knew so well, to the people who reminded him of life before this unexpected change. It kept him humble, grounded, and aware of the importance of kindness, empathy, and hard work. Lisa's family, especially her parents, were continually impressed by Malik. They often said how rare it was to meet someone so genuine, someone who remained true to their values even when faced with opportunities for wealth and influence. Malik, however, brushed off the praise with quiet humility. He believed that good actions should be done for the sake of humanity, not for recognition or reward. Yet he could not deny that he was grateful for the doors that had opened because of a single act of kindness, helping Lisa and Ethan when they needed it most. As months passed, Malik's life continued to improve. He was able to support his siblings more comfortably, provide for his parents in ways he never could before, and secure a future for himself that once seemed impossible. But beyond material stability, Malik discovered something even more valuable: a network of people who trusted him, respected him, and believed in his potential. He had built relationships that were genuine, grounded in mutual respect, and reinforced by the understanding that kindness and integrity could change lives. One evening, Malik sat in his apartment after a long day of work, reflecting on the past months. He thought about that hot summer day when he first noticed Lisa struggling with Ethan, about the decision to pull over and help them, about the ride to the hospital filled with fear and hope. It seemed almost surreal that one small act, an instinctive choice to help a stranger, had led to everything he was experiencing now. He thought about the lessons he had learned along the way, that life could be unpredictable, that people were capable of incredible generosity, and that small actions could have far-reaching effects. Malik realized that helping Lisa and Ethan had not just changed their lives, it had changed his own. It had given him new opportunities, new friendships, and a renewed belief in the power of humanity. Even as his life improved, Malik never lost sight of the importance of humility and compassion. He continued to look for ways to help others, small gestures in his community that could make a difference. Whether it was helping someone carry groceries, offering advice, or simply listening to someone in need, Malik understood that his actions mattered. He knew that life's true wealth wasn't measured in money or status, but in the lives you touch and the goodness you share. Lisa and Malik's relationship also grew deeper, built on mutual respect, gratitude, and shared experiences. They weren't just connected by the incident with Ethan. They were connected by trust, kindness, and the understanding that one person's courage to help could ripple outward in ways neither could have anticipated. Lisa often told Malik how proud she was of him, not just for what he had done for Ethan, but for the man he had become, a man of integrity, humility, and genuine heart. As Malik looked out over the city from his apartment window, he felt a sense of peace and purpose. He had faced hardship, uncertainty, and doubt, but he had also experienced the incredible power of human kindness and the ways it could transform lives. He understood now that helping someone in need could create a chain reaction. One small act could lead to opportunities, friendships, and experiences beyond imagination. And yet, despite all the changes, Malik remained the same at his core. He was still the man who cared deeply for others, who worked hard, who believed in doing the right thing without expectation. He had been rewarded not because he sought it, but because he lived by his values, and the world had recognized that. The story of Malik's life was no longer just about survival. It was about growth, transformation, and the enduring impact of compassion. He had learned that life could surprise you in the most beautiful ways, that genuine kindness could open doors, and that helping others wasn't just about making a difference in their lives. It could also change your own. As the night settled over the city, Malik felt grateful. He thought about Ethan, now healthy and happy, about Lisa, who had shown him trust and friendship, and about the new path that had opened before him. He knew that life would continue to bring challenges, but he also knew that with compassion, integrity, and courage, he could navigate whatever came his way. Malik smiled softly to himself, reflecting on the journey that had begun with a single choice: to stop, to help, to care. That one act had set into motion a series of events that transformed his life forever. And as he looked out at the city lights, he felt a quiet certainty. No matter what the future held, kindness and humanity would always guide him, just as they had guided him to this extraordinary new chapter of his life. Life had changed for Malik in ways he had never imagined. The man who had once spent long, exhausting hours behind the wheel of his cab, worrying about paying bills and supporting his siblings, now found himself walking a path filled with opportunities he never dreamed of. But Malik remained grounded. He never let wealth, status, or recognition change who he was. He continued to live simply, value hard work, and place kindness above everything else. Malik's new position within Lisa's family's business network provided him with stability and growth, but it was more than just a job. It was a chance to make a difference on a larger scale. He used his position to support others in need, mentor people who were struggling like he once had, and create opportunities for those who had talent but lacked resources. Every action he took was rooted in the lessons he had learned from helping Lisa and Ethan that fateful day. Meanwhile, Lisa's son Ethan had fully recovered. The little boy's laughter once again filled the room, his energy vibrant and playful. Malik spent time with him whenever he could, playing small games, reading stories, and sharing moments that strengthened their bond. Ethan looked up to Malik, not as someone distant or unapproachable, but as a friend and protector who had shown him care when he was most vulnerable. Lisa, too, remained close to Malik. Their relationship was built on mutual respect, gratitude, and genuine affection. She never treated him as a beneficiary of her family's wealth. She treated him as an equal, someone whose heart and integrity were worth more than any material reward. Malik felt fortunate not only for the opportunities that had come his way, but also for the people he had met along the journey, people who valued him for who he truly was. With his newfound stability, Malik was able to provide for his family in ways he had only dreamed of before. He helped his siblings with school expenses, ensuring they had opportunities he wished he had growing up. He supported his parents, helping them live comfortably and without the constant worry that had once weighed heavily on them. For Malik, this was not about showing off wealth or status. It was about giving back to the people who had supported him and loved him unconditionally. Despite the changes in his life, Malik never forgot the importance of staying connected to his roots. He continued to drive his cab occasionally, not for money, but to remain connected to the streets, the people, and the community that had shaped him. He understood that the real world, with all its struggles and challenges, was still out there. Staying grounded helped him appreciate his new opportunities while remaining empathetic toward others who were still struggling. As Malik settled into his new life, he began to notice subtle changes in how people treated him. Strangers approached him with kindness, colleagues respected his opinions, and friends valued his advice. But he never let these changes affect his humility. Malik remained approachable, patient, and genuinely caring. He had learned that true respect and trust were earned through actions, not assumed from status or wealth. Lisa's family continued to support him in meaningful ways. They provided mentorship, guidance, and encouragement, helping Malik refine his skills and expand his influence. But they also treated him as a person, not a project. Malik could see the authenticity in their support, and it reinforced his belief that genuine relationships were priceless. He often reflected on how one small act of kindness, the day he helped Lisa and Ethan, had opened doors to relationships that would last a lifetime. One evening, Malik received a call from Lisa. She sounded excited. "Malik, Ethan has a school project about heroes. He wants to talk about someone who made a difference in his life. He chose you." Malik chuckled softly, feeling a mix of pride and humility. "Really?" he asked, a small smile spreading across his face. "Yes," Lisa replied. "He doesn't just see what you did that day. He sees the kindness, the courage, and the way you care for others. You've become someone he looks up to, and I want him to understand what it means to make a difference in someone's life." Malik felt a warmth in his heart. He had never thought of himself as a hero. He had simply done what he felt was right. But knowing that he had inspired a young boy to value kindness and empathy was more meaningful than any recognition or reward he had received. As Malik prepared to visit Ethan's school for the project, he reflected on his journey. The man who had once struggled to make ends meet was now in a position to inspire others, to lead by example, and to make a lasting impact. He thought about the lessons he had learned, that small acts of kindness could ripple outward, that integrity and empathy were powerful forces, and that genuine human connections could change lives in ways beyond imagination. At the school, Malik spoke to Ethan's classmates, sharing his story in simple, relatable terms. He didn't boast about his achievements or the opportunities he had received. Instead, he focused on the importance of helping others, staying true to oneself, and understanding that every action, no matter how small, can create positive change. The children listened intently, and Malik could see the curiosity and admiration in their eyes. After the presentation, Ethan ran up to Malik, hugging him tightly. "Thank you for helping me," he said, his voice full of sincerity. "You're my hero." Malik smiled, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. "You're welcome, Ethan," he replied. "Always remember to help others when you can. That's how the world becomes a better place." The moment stayed with Malik long after he returned home. He realized that life wasn't just about personal success or financial stability. It was about impact, relationships, and the legacy of kindness one leaves behind. The journey that had begun with a